Okay, guys, good evening. I see that you are probably busy finishing your TOEIC, and mainly your advanced retest, right? But okay, today class is about negative adverbials and inversion, and it has to do this topic with the power of play, right? So instead of discussing, because well, you are not connected today, you are going to listen first, right? So let's listen. Let's do the of course the activity for the audio. Listen to a podcast about the importance of play. Note down the 4 benefits that the speaker mentions. So, okay, we are going to listen and we are going to focus in 4 main benefits that they are mentioning about the power of play, right? And the role that play, of course, plays in childhood and teenagehood as well, right? Even adulthood, we can say, but we start with childhood, okay? So let me just check that I have already, sorry, I'm going to, yeah, because I haven't shared the audio. So let me share the audio, right? Hello, Daisy. And we are going to listen to this podcast. It's not that long podcast, it's short podcast about the importance of play, right? Please focus on the 4 main benefits that the speaker of the podcast mentioned, all right? And then you can tell me, please.
Track 74, Unit 10B.
Among all the serious business of life, the daily news, the work responsibilities, the forward planning, the everyday to-do list, we often forget to play. In fact, we seldom think of play as something necessary. It seems more like a luxury to indulge in when we have spare time. But actually, play is an essential part of our well-being and our social interactions. I'll try to explain why. When we take a break and participate in some light-hearted act of fun, we relieve feelings of tension and we begin to relax. And no sooner have we started to relax than our minds also begin to think differently, more creatively, more experimentally, more laterally, if you like. So, first of all, play is a brain stimulant. It increases our ability to solve problems and to think outside the box. Lots of tech companies like Google recognize this, providing play spaces for their workers to use at work. Secondly, play is good for our health. Not only does it relieve tension, studies have also shown that laughter, which is a natural product of play, improves blood circulation and increases the body's resistance to disease. Thirdly, play connects us. It's a way of socializing without pressure because the focus is not the social relationship itself, but the game. In most play, I'm not talking about organized competitive sport here, there aren't high expectations on the players socially and there's hardly any formality either, just a shared feeling of enjoyment and of letting go. So, play has the power to break down barriers between people, to encourage empathy and to improve communication. Lastly, and this is particularly important, it keeps us in the present moment. The present is actually the only place where we can feel real happiness. But we don't spend enough time in the present. A lot of the time our minds wander and we find ourselves thinking about things in the past, from which feelings of anger or regret can arise, or things in the future, from which feelings of anxiety can arise. But when we're engaged in play, we are usually so immersed in that activity that we lose ourselves in the present, which is the place where, as several psychologists have noted, true pleasure is found. But what is the nature of this play I've been talking about? Well, in many ways, it scarcely matters what kind of play it is. It could be an organized game, like football or a board game. It could be playing frisbee casually in the park. But equally, it could just be a playful conversation. Play doesn't have to be a specific activity, it's also a state of mind. Sharing a joke, making a play on words, pointing out something absurd. Generally just seeing the funny side of things.
Will you note down the 4 main benefits that the speaker in this podcast mentioned? Or kind of, or part of it? Hello, Daniel. Daisy? Probably you join a little later, but I don't know, you could listen at least partially, right? You could listen partially. This podcast is a short podcast talking about the power of play. So what benefits did you get? None?
No, teacher, sorry.
No, me.
One more time, please. They are 4 benefits that the speaker is mainly mentioning, right? Can you note down the 4 benefits, please? Okay. So remember, keywords, note down keywords or key phrases. Not necessary, of course, the whole idea because it's too much information, right? Okay. So you will notice because she is mentioning, of course, sequence words. Firstly, right? Secondly, right? So she's, of course, using these sequence words to mention the 4 benefits. All right? Ready? Do you have a tablet or paper or I don't know, any place to note down these ideas?
Yes, teacher, I'm ready.
Excellent. Daisy, ready? Yes?
Yes.
I hope so. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, here we go.
Track 74. Unit 10B.
Among all the serious business of life, the daily news, the work responsibilities, the forward planning, the everyday to-do list, we often forget to play. In fact, we seldom think of play as something necessary. It seems more like a luxury to indulge in when we have spare time. But actually, play is an essential part of our well-being and our social interactions. I'll try to explain why. When we take a break and participate in some light-hearted act of fun, we relieve feelings of tension and we begin to relax. And no sooner have we started to relax than our minds also begin to think differently, more creatively, more experimentally, more laterally, if you like. So, first of all, play is a brain stimulant. It increases our ability to solve problems and to think outside the box. Lots of tech companies like Google recognize this, providing play spaces for their workers to use at work.
Okay, so firstly, what is the first benefit?
Brain stimulated.
So brain stimulation, right? So it stimulates your
Stimulation.
brain to feel more relaxed, no? To, of course, the well-being, right? What kind of companies use this benefit of play?
Google.
Google, for example, right? What about the company you work for, Daniel? Does it use?
Yeah, in our free time, we can play ping pong with the boss, and
Excellent.
he's really good playing ping pong, and he always say like, if you winning to me, is it correct? No.
Beat. If you beat me, you beat
If you
me
beat
or
me,
defeat me and beat me.
yeah,
My vences,
I,
if you beat me.
I will give you, I don't know, this or this, but nah, he's
They give
uh
you,
really pro.
and you are supposed
No,
to get a benefit, time benefit or money benefit or what? What is the promise? Beat or defeat? What is the promise if you win? No, Daniel? So he always wins. The boss always wins. Okay? Yes? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Hi.
hey teacher, did you listen, teacher, or no?
I wasn't listening. I think I was having trouble with my headphones. So I better unplug them. It's because my cat is just rounding the laptop. So I suppose that she did something with the wire. Okay, and I couldn't listen to you. So what kind of benefit are you supposed to get, Daniel? If you could win, if you could win him.
It was like obtain his job position, like we
Okay.
can change our job position if you can beat me, something like that, because he's the boss. So it was like, yeah, a joke.
Okay. sounds interesting, but also a little stressful because, okay, let's continue with these benefits. Daisy, are you working now or studying?
Yes, I work.
And what about at work? Is it part of the work to play from time to time any kind of game, board games or table games, or no? At work, is part of the routine or not really?
No,
That's sad. No?
no.
Okay, so brain. This is a brain stimulus. The first benefit. The second benefit, guys, that the speaker mentioned.
Secondly, play is good for our health. Not only does it relieve tension, studies have also shown that laughter, which is a natural product of play, improves blood circulation and increases the body's resistance to disease. Thirdly,
Okay,
play
the second
connects us.
benefit. The second benefit. Second benefit. Guys, second benefit.
Like leave tension, body resistance to I
To
couldn't
disease.
remember the word.
To disease.
Disease.
So, of course, also, it's not just a brain stimulus, it also for your health. It improves your health, right? But laughter, mainly laughter. So when you are playing and you are laughing, it of course increases. It increases your well-being and good health, no? Circulation, blood circulation, right? And blood pressure as well, right? And all this. And of course, all these defenses to disease, no? To disease. So that's why I was telling you, okay, it's good idea to play against your boss, but what about against other co-workers? Do you play with other co-workers, Daniel? Yes. Not just with the boss, or just with the boss.
No, with all my coworkers.
And is it fun? Do you
Yes,
laugh?
yes,
Because that
yes.
is the idea, no? That is the idea of playing, right? That you have fun, that you laugh. Sometimes, yes, we can feel a little stressed, no? But not to get angry, right? Or not to get frustrated, no? That is the idea. The third benefit,
Play improves blood circulation and increases the body's resistance to disease.
what is resistance to disease?
Thirdly, play connects us. It's a way of socializing without pressure because the focus is not the social relationship itself, but the game. In most play, I'm not talking about organized competitive sport here, there aren't high expectations on the players socially and there's hardly any formality either, just a shared feeling of enjoyment and of letting go. So, play has the power to break down barriers between people, to encourage empathy and to improve communication.
So we have a lot of benefits in the third point, no, that she mentioned. That are, Daisy, did you get any? Yes, I'm sure you got at least one, Daisy. Tell us, please. Come on, Daisy, don't be shy. No? Daisy, you don't want to tell us one benefit? Daniel?
The social part break
Uh-huh.
down boundaries between people.
Yes, bonds, right? So connections, of course. So we focus on the play more than on relationships. So it also encourage empathy, right? And other, of course, bonds, no, to people, right? So it's a very good idea, right, to do it more often. And the fourth one,
Lastly, and this is particularly important, it keeps us in the present moment. The present is actually the only place where we can feel real happiness. But we don't spend enough time in the present. A lot of the time our minds wander and we find ourselves thinking about things in the past, from which feelings of anger or regret can arise, or things in the future, from which feelings of anxiety can arise. But when we're engaged in play, we are usually so immersed in that activity that we lose ourselves in the present, which is the place where, as several psychologists have noted, true pleasure is found. But what is the nature of this play I've been talking about? Well, in many ways, it scarcely matters what kind of play it is. It could be an organised game, like football or a board game. It could be playing frisbee casually in the park. But equally, it could just be a playful conversation. Play doesn't have to be a specific activity. It's also a state of mind. Sharing a joke, making a play on words, pointing out something absurd. Generally just seeing the funny side of things.
So the fourth benefit, well, she mentioned a lot of examples. As an organized play, as you mentioned, ping pong, no? Or table tennis. It can be an organized play, but it also can be anything else, no? Not just an organized one, right? With certain rules. It can be a different one, right? Okay. What is the fourth benefit?
Living the now, the moment.
Yes. Be present in the moment. So this is called mindfulness, no? Also mindfulness. Be present now, because we normally think about the past or the future, planning, or doing things, or talking about certain past things that I shouldn't have done, right? So we are regretting something sometimes, no? Or thinking about to do things differently, but we are immersed and we lose in our thoughts. We lose in the present, and we are not in the present. That is the real pleasure, no? Some psychologists mention it. Do you agree? Daisy and Daniel, do you agree?
Yes,
This
teacher.
podcast? Okay. Why? Give me reasons. Remember, this is advanced. Advanced level. Give me reasons.
Well, I think it's really important to take some time to disconnect it. Like we discussed before about the burnout studying English. You can walk with your dog. You can talk with I don't know, with your friends or your family. As the last point, be present in the moment is not just a physical activity. It can be also a funny conversation, and your brain is, I think, appreciate that a little breath about just only working.
Yes, working, studying, no, in your case, studying a language or studying whatever, and working again, no, and daily routine, no. So
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course it's very important. It's very important. That's why I will remind you guys, even the ones who are not here today, the ones who are going to listen or to watch this video, to participate in this coming Friday event of Halloween party. Probably you are not going to participate as a contestant in any of the contests, no, the custom contest, sorry, or drawing contest or any other contest. If you haven't registered, of course I understand, because you have been very busy with all these end of the course, right? Advanced 3, TOEIC, of course, all your language objectives, right? But you can participate. So you can be there, you can join the party, listen, and check the activities, because there can be a trivia or something else, and you can be there, right? Just to disconnect from English studies. It's going to be, as long as I know, it's going to be in different languages, not just in English. English is the main language, but also French and Italian are going to participate. So all the academies are going to participate. So it's going to be fun, no? And different. So you can join. I know that you don't have classes on Fridays, but if you can join for 1 hour at least, it's going to be from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So that will be fun, right? Don't you think? And this is the cultural size, of course, of the language, no? Not just grammar, reading, vocabulary, no? Okay. What do you think? It sounds interesting, good, or more or less?
Really good.
Okay. So we are going to check one of our last grammar topics, right? Because, well, this is almost the last week, no? Next week is going to be the last week. We are going to have this course. So we have already checked inversion, and we have already checked adverbs, adverbial phrases. Yesterday we were talking about some adverbial phrases, but we have to focus on the negative ones that even though we have already talked about them, we haven't used really all of them, right? So let's try to check, to review, and use a few of them, right? So we have seldom, all the adverbs of degree and adverbs of frequency that you already know. Adverbs of frequency, in this case, seldom, rarely, hardly ever, right? That you already know. Barely, scarcely, and hardly. These barely and scarcely that are also adverbs of frequency, but they are more advanced, right? More than rarely or seldom, or hardly ever, right? Even though these are the most common, these are more advanced. So in many ways, it scarcely matters what kind of play it is. All these chunks of language are taken from the podcast that you just listened, right? All of them are taken from this podcast. In casual play, there's hardly any formality, right? So as we mentioned to the narrator in the podcast, talking about the importance or the power of play, is talking about all these matters, right? In fact, we seldom think of play as something necessary, no? We say, as you mentioned, Daniel, and as I can mention, I haven't told you, but from time to time, our principal at school in the morning, we have different games as well, no? Every 3 months. It's not very often, but every 3 or 4 months, we have a morning of playing, no? Table games, board games, or even a rally, no? Just with the staff, no students, just staff, right? And it's very funny. It's very funny, but it's not very frequent, no? Because of course the different activities we have to do at work. But it's necessary not to play just at work, to play with the family, to play yourself. Why not? No video games, no? I remember, guys, there was play a long time ago. I don't know if it still continues because I haven't checked it, that it was called solitaire, right? With some cards. Does it continue? No, no idea. But it was very common like 20 years ago, of course. But nowadays we have more games, no? That are more sophisticated. And the inverted negative adverbials that also we used, right? And we can listen to the podcast again, and well, we can identify them. She said, no sooner have we started to relax than our minds also begin to think differently when we are playing, when we are disconnected from our responsibilities and duties. Not only does it relieve tension, right? One of the benefits, remember? Studies have also shown that laughter improves blood circulation, right? Or I don't remember, was it the second benefit? Yes, the second benefit. No, we talk about the first benefit of play, brain stimulus, and then the second one, health, right? Good health. So this is quite common, using not sooner or not only, no, the ones that we were using. Yes, do you remember a little bit? The ones that we haven't checked very deeply are barely, scarcely, right? Probably, scarcely, right? Only when, only if, they are quite common, no? Or never, or little. Remember that when we were talking about a little bit more formal speech, no? Or writing, like in podcasts, for example, or news, no? Yes, or certain conferences, no? Science conferences, etc. Right? Remember so? Let's check Let's check, please, and take a screenshot because this is, of course, one of the materials that I use in the other school I'm working in, and it's good. It's good, of course. On National Geographic Learning. So that's why I'm using it because, well, it can be helpful, of course, as you have just your platform. And talking about your platforms, guys, have you finished Advanced 3? Almost, or not yet? Not yet.
No yet, Miss, but I pretend and I have that target to finish approximately the Monday for the next week.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Alan.
Yes,
Congrats.
I have to leave and finish the vocabulary
Okay.
because I want to write down and to review many
Of course.
many bases.
Excellent. And you, Daisy and Daniel, are you about to finish Advanced 3? Because, well, this is just the last week, and remember you are having the final test, right?
Yes. Just only 2 units, and that's all, teacher.
Sorry?
I
Can you-
need to make or answer only 2 units for Advanced 3.
Wow. So you almost finished.
Yes.
And how do you feel, Daniel? Do you feel more confident than 4 months ago? A little more confident?
Yes. But
Um,
not for the exam or for the certification. I pretend to finish all the units and then some simulation or writing or practice more because it's really intimidated the exam or the certification for me. It's like, oh no.
mm, Remember that the stress has this cortical secretion that we have in our brain, and it's not good. So we can block our brains, we can block our memory. So if you worry too much, it can be not a good way, no, to answer something. So the more relaxed you are, the better it is, guys. I know that it's not easy to be relaxed in an exam. I know, but believe me, right? And as we have been checking in the podcast, you told me that you are right. So just think that you are playing. Why don't you think that you are playing? If you just switch, no? If you just switch a little and you think, this is just like playing. Why not?
So Miss,
Good work.
sorry,
Good work or
do
no?
you suggest us focus with listen some podcast and read for this test? So probably after in the future we have to practice with some activities, individual activities. Well, for the test to because I have not confidence because I think I have to learn more vocabulary because I forget it very easy.
Very silly.
Very easily.
Yeah, we tend to forget some vocabulary easily when we don't use it, no? When we don't use it, we don't listen to it very frequently. So the more frequently we do it, yeah, of course, the more frequently, the better. So it's always better, Alan, of course. The more podcasts, the more things that you can expose yourselves, that will be much better, for sure.
Okay,
Yes.
Miss.
Yes. Okay. Talking about this, can you please take a screenshot because it's a lot of information. We are not going to read everything, of course. We are just going to, I'm going to give you the, use this part to screenshot adverbs and adverbial phrases that we have been talking about. Yesterday, we were talking about using adverbs. Remember, Daisy? Quickly, unfortunately, adverse position, right? No, not yesterday because yesterday we didn't have class, but I mean, sorry, I am lying to you. It was on Monday, right? Last Monday. Adverbial phrases, later that day, in a polite way, in a nicely way, no? In a friendly way. These are adverbial phrases, especially when we say this kind of thing in a polite way, in a nicely way, right? And of course, adverbs of degree, adverbs of manner that we were talking about last Monday, right? And the position of the adverbs, of course. The types of adverbs and adverbial phrase, of course, that we were talking about, the ones from manner, remember, this is a reminder, but I know that you were not here, guys. Don't worry too much. Try to just to remind something that you learned previously, right? And if you don't remember, just try to check again the information, not just here in these screenshots, of course, in any other site. And let's practice a little bit, no? With manner, probability, we have different numbers. Manner, quickly, no? Or beautifully. How does Shakira sing? Beautifully. She sings beautifully, right? Or probability, right? Probability or possibility, right? Likely, it is likely to happen in the future or is unlikely, right? Adverse of degree, of course, extremely, rather, almost, right? Of frequency that we have already checked, right? Rarely, hardly ever, always, from time to time, etc. The viewpoint adverbs that are also very important, especially in advanced levels, right? So on a personal level, in some cases, of course, that we use, or comment, adverbs of comment, right? That we use, of course, surprisingly, interestingly, in order to give emphasis to something that you are saying or the speaker is saying, no? For example, in a podcast. That was the one that we started the lesson with. And also we were talking about the adverse position last Monday. Sorry. Adverse position is because I don't have enough here. Okay. Enough Zoom sometimes. Okay. So that some of them are mainly in initial position, in mid position, or at the end, right? So as we can see, no, unfortunately, and all these kind of adverbs. Remember, Daisy, that I gave you just this link, right? Last Monday, you were here, right, Daisy? In the class last Monday. Do you have the link at hand? I don't know if Daisy's
Yes,
there.
Miss.
Can you share the link with the guys here in the chat? Because they can check the position of the adverbs. If you have it at hand, can you share it in the chat, Daisy, please? Because this is just a reminder, right, of the adverbs. But the one that I'm really concerned about, because this is more for advanced levels, is negative adverbials and inversion that we have already checked a little bit of inversion, but it's never enough. It's never enough, especially with these complex structures, no? So in that case, when we place this adverb, can you help me please, Alan, read this part? Because this part we are going to read it.
Yeah.
It's an inversion.
Yes, Miss. Negative adverbials and inversion. When we place an adverb or adverbial phrases that has a negative or retractive meaning. Yep.
Phrase or restrictive.
Phrase has a negative or restrictive meaning at the beginning of the sentence for emphasis. We invert the subject at the auxiliary.
We have already checked this as well, but this is, remember, to refresh, because this is important as this is part of advanced course levels. So, inversion, right? Remember, I rarely receive such poor service. Rarely have I received such poor service, right? And we were talking about inversion. Daniel, please.
If there is no auxiliary, we add a form of do. We only realized how sick she was later. Only later did we realize how sick she was.
Are you remembering something about it? Or not really? Because we have already checked inversion for a while. for a couple of lessons, I guess. Do you remember, Daisy? Not really, because it's too much information, right? After most negative adverbial phrases, Daisy? No, Daisy? Daisy, did you share the link? No, ¿verdad? No, you haven't shared the link. No ha compartido la liga que vimos el lunes. Bueno, se la subo al Moodle, chicos, right? Se la subo a Moodle para que nada más le den una chicadita a los adverse position, porque esto les va a servir no solo para for the advanced 3. Remember that in TOEIC, we have reading. It says reading, but we have different parts of reading, no? And, well, in one of the parts of reading that is sentence completion, right? It is really grammar and vocabulary. You read the sentence, you read that, but it's more than everything, grammar and vocabulary, but more grammar. And then in part number 4 or 5, tomorrow we are going to check the whole format at timing, right? And then we are going to have another activity for Halloween, right? I don't know, you are going to be in Eurocentro with us on Friday, but tomorrow we are having part of it. So in that case, don't use not in the main clause when this is a negative. No, it's not correct. Under no circumstances can I be late for the interview. Not can't. No, can I be late? Remember that the no is here, so we don't use 2 times a negative form, right?
Miss, sorry,
Yes.
this is structure is the most common in a colloquial vocabulary.
No, this is
Oh.
no, this is for more formal speech and writing. As I told you,
More formal.
More formal speech and writing. This is mainly for news, interviews, conferences,
Okay.
science conferences, or yeah, of course, podcasts, no, that are quite formal, of course, right? But not for colloquial. This is mainly for more formal stuff.
Okay.
And the different types that we have, of course, with frequency adverbs, with different adverbs, no? With all the adverbs that we have already checked on Monday, and the ones that you already know, we use that. But we don't invert a subject when we are talking about inversion. Inversion is mainly for formal issues. It appears between the adverbial phrase. For example, only when I read your letter, I realized, not only when no, of course we are not using we're not using an auxiliary verb. Let's do some practice because it's too much information, I know. Dear, find examples of the following types of adverbials in sentences. Well, not really this. Correct the mistake. Correct the mistake will be better. This is something that you can do much better.
Miss, sorry.
Yes, Alan? Alan, is my internet connection? Sorry, is this my internet connection? Because I can hardly hear you. Can you repeat it? Probably it's my internet connection because I had an electricity failure 35 minutes ago. Well, 40 minutes ago before your class.
So the different when we read some sentence in the book, the structure, verb, the principal meaning to use something, but I compare, right? Try to identify how can I use this vocabulary. Is because maybe we read the sentence. Always he drinks a coffee in the morning. But when I listen or watch some movie, something is different, and I want to learn how can I use this structure. How can I don't know what to say to hilar. or to
Join,
engranar,
join,
to join,
join.
to join that instruction in a fluent conversation. Because maybe that instruction
Fluent,
is
fluent,
more, more fluent. I don't know, what do you suggest us that helped us that part of the English learn?
Okay, so you are talking about a street language. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
Yeah.
why you mentioned colloquial, right?
Yeah, because maybe I try to uh, speak it or talk to with other person, American person, because my work give me the opportunity. But when I talk with them, they are very obviously they talk very fast, and the structure they possess more fluency. But I consider I speak, they understand me, but I felt if I was a robot, maybe. I
Okay,
don't know.
you feel dumb. ¿Te sientes torpe?
Exactly.
You feel dumb because you don't usually do it, do you? Do you usually,
Sometimes. Mhm.
but do you frequently speak in English?
Probably the 5 days of the week, only 3.
Okay, three days of the week out of the 7, because there are 7 days in the
I
week, not
understand.
5. There are 7
Maybe
days
the
in
2
the week,
days.
Alan.
Uh-huh.
So 3 days is not that bad, no? Daniel, what do you think? It's not that bad, but you can do it better. You can do it better. One of the things is not just speaking. Listening is very connected to speech. So
Okay.
the better you listen, the better you identify sounds and language, and of course, different vocabulary, as you mentioned, the better you will pronounce them, and the better you will join them. You will link them, right? You will link these ideas and you will be more fluent. But how often do you
Miss, I think you
listen?
lost the connection.
Oh, yes, I was having some trouble with my internet today. I don't know what's going on with the electricity. Hello, hello. Yes?
Hi, Miss.
Teacher,
You're
hi.
frozen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am there. I am with you again, or no?
Yes, yes.
Yes, perfect, teacher.
So the more you practice listening, but not just listening while you are piloting, Alan. No, that is not listening because you are piloting and you have to
Yeah, it's
focus
different.
on your
Yeah.
work, of course, not on the podcast or not on the things. No, they are saying you can grab some things, but not really understanding everything, right? So you have to focus at least. I don't know how long have you been listening to be present. We have been talking about being present, for example, for a play, right? How often have you been present in a long speech?
Well, I feel good because I have tried to don't understand or to don't translate all,
Not to translate,
don't to translate. But I see, I understand what happened or what want to say the persons want to say, but I don't try to translate.
I try not to. I try not to
I
translate.
try don't.
I try not
I
to
try not
translate.
translate.
Yes, because for
Yes.
example, this is one of the common mistakes that you are making, and it has to do with fluency, with both fluency and correctness of the use of language, right? That's why you feel probably a little dumb, right? Because if you don't dominate something, when you are trying to speak, you make mistakes, and it makes you block the message.
Okay.
So you are blocking the message as well, right? So grammar is the glue. Grammar is the glue because you can be fluent, but just speak like, I don't know, Tarzan, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that you want to speak like that, no?
No.
That's not bad, but not for a pilot. Mhm.
Yeah, of course. So that is I'm concerned because yes, I consider it's difficult for me
Mhm.
to try to speak. Obviously, I'm starting in this process, but I want to how do you say como hilar? Or
Link.
to link? Okay.
Link.
To link the correct vocabulary, the correct structure with
Mhm.
affluence vocabulary or speech. Sorry.
Practice. Because you are talking about the speaking.
Mhm.
You are just talking about the speaking, Alan. And remember that this course was the main purpose of this course wasn't the speaking. The main
Mhm.
course, the main purpose of this course was certification,
Yeah.
TOEIC, and increase your level of English in terms of vocabulary, grammar, and reading, right? And listening, of course.
Yeah, of course.
For speaking, I would really suggest you to join to a conversation club, but not
Okay.
times a week,
No.
5 times a week, at
Okay,
least.
miss.
Join a conversation club.
Okay, miss. So
Join a
thank you.
conversation club because you need to practice. Practice is like a muscle, no? It's like a
Yes,
muscle.
because
If you want your biceps to be stronger,
Mhm.
you need to do exercise. And
Yes.
if
Maybe
you,
I felt
Mhm.
nervous because in my mind, yes, I know what I want to say. But when I speak,
Okay, you
so
get blocked. You get blocked.
yes,
Yes,
I
because
block.
you haven't practiced enough. You haven't
Okay,
practiced enough.
miss.
Mhm.
Okay, miss. Thank
And
you.
that is the answer. Practice makes perfect. But practice and knowledge. So remember that everything is connected, no? So the more you know, believe it or not, Daniel, Alan, and class, the ones who are going to listen to it, believe it or not, as I have already told you before, because I remember, Alan, you were with me in B2, right?
Yes, me too.
The more you read, you will speak better. But I don't know if you have read enough. It doesn't have to do, reading doesn't have to do with pronunciation, I know, but it has to do with both vocabulary, that is the most important thing for speaking, because you need vocabulary to speak. Probably grammar, it doesn't matter a lot, no? But you need words. And of course, the component that is important is the glue of the language is grammar. This is the glue.
Okay, miss.
So, yeah, I know everything is important, but yes, you need to read and speak, read and speak, read and speak, because you will learn more words, more words, more words.
More words. Yes.
And speaking, pronunciation, and of course, fluency. And accuracy comes with the time. So accuracy, correctness comes with the time, with practice. So suddenly, Alan, don't get desperate, but suddenly you will realize that you will correct yourself. So when you start correcting yourself and you say, oh, what am I saying? Ah, I made a mistake. Okay. That's the moment that you will be improving.
Okay, miss.
Yes, but it's practice, 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 practice. You know, discipline, discipline, discipline.
Okay, thank you, miss.
And not just practice with your colleagues, because your colleagues, the American ones, they are not going to speak slower. They are not going to make a pause. Probably some of them, yes, but some of them no, because there are always people who don't care. Yes or no? Am I right or not? Not all the people
No,
are,
yes.
not all the people are polite or kind.
No, I have experience with some American. They are very rude and
I don't want to say this because this is being recorded, but there are always idiots everywhere. Not just American people, I mean everywhere.
no, everyone.
Are they speaking in Spanish? No. Do they learn Spanish? Some of them
Sometimes
probably,
they speak in Spanish, but I try to start with English.
but probably they speak in Spanish worse than you speak English,
Probably.
but you haven't tried. Try to have a conversation with them in Spanish in order to see what is their level, no? What did you send, Daniel? Can you help me with this, guys? Just with this. Just with this. What did you
Yeah,
send? Because
teacher. The answers, teachers. I have to go to do the dishes.
ah, okay.
Yeah, but
Yes. See you tomorrow
I
then.
yeah, but I want to say something similar, something how do you say it? No sé decirlo ni en español. Acerca de lo que estamos hablando, about or you are
About the
talking.
issue? About the issue?
Yeah. I
About
remember
the same
a
issue?
meme saying is two guys speaking in English. Is like I'm 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 speaking English because it's the only language that you know. That's the problem. I can speak Spanish and also English, but we're having this conversation in English because the English is the only language that you know
Yeah.
or that you
Mhm.
speak. So yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's right. So don't feel bad, Alan. You are making an effort to communicate in another language that is not your mother tongue. So you don't have to feel frustrated because of that. Yes, I understand what you mean. But honestly, guys, and before you do the dishes, Daniel, let's finish this. Now, take a screenshot and we can finish tomorrow, right? And just try to be very accurate in your discipline. This is my time for studying English, because if you have an objective, this is my time not for studying, for practicing, because I haven't studied enough. So I need to practice. This is my time for me to practice. That's it. So I'm going to have every day 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to practice. But do it every day as a habit. A habit is, you get a habit after around 20, 25 days of doing it constantly. So start.
Yes, miss.
It's never late. It's never late, of course.
No, because I will have an interview in airlines
In an
Mexico.
airline?
Yes,
In Mexico City?
but it's probably March or May the next year.
Okay.
But I have that limit to
You have
improve
enough
that
time.
skill.
You have enough time to improve. Yes, you have enough time. But it's practice.
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 Yes, miss. Because all the interview will be in English. So they said me that.